YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here with some big news on Total War Rome 2, and I will get started on it in just a moment. You all will not be hearing game sound. You'll be seeing the screen, but you won't be hearing game sound for now, because I'm actually tabbed out of that window and looking at some patch notes. Yes, there has been a new patch. Well, it's kind of a patch. They're actually calling it, in case you missed the news the other day, go over to Creative Assembly's YouTube channel. I think it's the Total War YouTube channel. And check out the Rally Point video. You can also go to the Wiki Total War site and check it out there. I'll put links to the video and to the patch notes in the description. So right now what is out is the Emperor Edition Beta, also being called Patch 15 Beta. And this is not just some regular patch. This is a massive overhaul to the entire game. This is not even the same Rome 2 you've been playing. So I've downloaded the Patch 15 Beta. You can do this if you want now. If you want to try out Patch 15 Beta, all you have to do is go into Steam, go to your games library, right-click on Total War Rome 2, click on Properties, then go to the tab that says Betas, and then in the drop-down where it says Select the Beta you would like to opt into, just select Patch 15, and then it says Emperor Edition in parentheses, and then let it download. It'll download the beta, and you can give it a try. A few key things to note before we get started and what changes. This does not work with save games. So if you've been playing a campaign, you would need to start a new campaign to get this, according to what I've read. So let's run through some of the basic categories of what's been changed. There's no way I can make this video short enough to actually show you all the changes. These changes are massive in both campaign, and they're going to affect multiplayer massively as well. So, I mean, huge changes. Again, they're calling it Patch 15/Emperor Edition Beta. This is not a small change. And what is the Emperor Edition? For those of you who haven't heard, again, go check out the Total War Wiki site. I'll link to it. Basically, they're going to add a new campaign to the game. This is not a DLC. It's a free content that's being added, and it's going to represent the Roman Civil Wars, I'm guessing, and it's going to be pretty exciting. So you're going to have the Roman Civil War campaign that's going to be added in, and that's going to be one huge addition. The other additions is they've completely revamped the politics in Civil War. And let me just read through a couple of the key highlights from politics and Civil War improvements. One, Civil Wars are no longer inevitable. So in the current game, it's going to happen when you hit Max Imperium. That's no longer the case now. Basically what they've done is they've changed it to where, depending on the support that your faction has, you're going to either have a high, medium, or low chance of a civil war occurring at the end of each turn. And they're going to have warning messages. And they did note that there's a few bugs related to these warning messages that are still in the beta, and again, it is a beta. Don't expect it to be perfect. They're looking for feedback. If you have feedback, go to the forums and give them that feedback. I'll be testing it as extensively as I can over the next while it's out. Also, another key change, multiple civil wars can occur throughout a campaign, so it's not just one. And the way a civil war occurs is different now. The UFOs don't come and beam down magic armies like full stack giant armies into your home province or wherever else anymore. That's not how a civil war works anymore. So the other factions, the generals from those factions and agents with those generals' armies will now switch and join the civil war if you spark it off. So it could kind of vary based on what this looks like. They'll join that civil war. It won't just be a spawn of armies. Other agents, or I think it says somewhere, let me read it so I get it right. It says, when a civil war occurs, all the generals and admirals not of your family will go over to the civil war, as will any agents in their armies and the regions they're standing in. So actual regions will switch over too. It won't just be like the one like it used to do. A few other things, they've reduced the cost of political actions because now they're more important in helping to balance the power of your faction amongst the others. It says let's see, it says core general skills also give gravitas per turn, and gravitas is kind of like the influence that these generals have. And if you want to keep politics balanced between the different factions, or the political factions, make sure you have generals from all the parties that are fighting and gaining skills. Otherwise, one party will become too balanced and a civil war occurs, or becomes more likely to occur. They've increased the effects from wives on this, and it says the effects of Imperium increase the political action cost. So as your Imperium grows, part of the way that they make it more difficult to stop a civil war from occurring is by making those political actions more expensive. So it is possible to stop them, but it's going to take some more skill on your part. So that's kind of the basic overhauls to politics and campaign. I say in Civil War. That's huge, though, and that's going to be interesting to see. Yes, I'm going to start a campaign, and we'll take a look at it. It might take me a couple of days to get some of this campaign footage up, at least one day from when you're seeing this, so just be a little patient, and I'll start getting something up. Alright, the next thing, overhaul the building changes. So here's the basic aim that they were looking for. They wanted to provide more building options for all cultures, and more interesting building combinations. Make resource regions more important, so like if a region has gold or glass or whatever else, they want to make it more important. Improve the balance of the late game economy, and balance the food and squalor so that buildings can be upgraded further. That was one complaint a lot of players had, so they're obviously answering those complaints. Again, these changes do not apply to existing save games. You would need to go out and start a new campaign. And all these changes affect all cultures. So let me read through a few of these key ones. Resource chains have been renamed and their effects improved to make them more important. There's a new resource called Amber. And then let's read through a few more of these. It says Universal Miner Industrial Chain now only has mine line of buildings. This change has been made because of other changes for each culture that have added more industrial focused buildings. Let's see, it says, what else here? It says garrison units now come from the core settlement building, ports, and military chains only. So the core settlement chain garrisons have been improved, and all now include at least one good quality unit. So they're trying to change the way it is when you're going after minor settlements. There's no longer any difference in port and religious chains in major and minor settlements. Apparently the coffee machine at CA now works. They added that in the patch notes, just saw that. Let's see what else we got here. Barbarians have some specific improvements. Eastern factions, Greek, Roman. There's a ton of these. I can't read them off all now, so go read them. There's a link in the comments. Go check out the patch notes. Special regions, let me read this to you. It says, a new thing that has been introduced are special regions. Effectively, regions now have effect bundles that give them certain bonuses. Currently, Rome, Carthage, Pella, Pergamon, Antioch, and Bactria have these effects. Rome, for example, gives +2 recruitment slots in that province, and it owning it, and plus 15% to all income. Carthago has a bonus to commerce and income. So certain settlements are going to give you key bonuses in the campaign. So there's some other core campaign changes. I'm going to read through a few real quick. It says core income for all factions is reduced from 3,000 to 1,500. And playable factions get different bonuses to core income. So for instance, Sparta gets 500, Macedon gets 1,000, Rome gets 1,500. So overall, Sparta would have 2,000, Rome would have 3,000. So you can see that they're trying to make it to where these factions survive until later into the game. So that's going to be interesting. Let's see. Replenishment rates have been reduced, which is interesting because it's still 1 turn per year. I'm not really sure. We'll have to see how that plays out. I guess they're just trying to make it where it's more painful when you lose more units. Let's see. Land battle changes. So they only have a few notes on this and a few on naval battles, but these are some massive changes. It says units with precursor weapons can now fire at will when stationary. So this is a huge change. This makes all units that carry javelins that were normally thrown when you click the charge order, they can actually stand there and hurl all their javelins. So it's going to be like what you saw from Roman legions in Rome 1. This is going to be a huge change because it means that they can unload these javelins on people who are not charging them. It's going to make that play a little more like Rome 1. It also says the pace of battles and combats has been reduced. Morale values adjusted so that battles will last longer and are more dynamic. And then it says balancing changes to almost all units. Now I'm going to tab back over into the game. They weren't kidding. There has been balancing changes to almost everything. Like, I'm just sitting here looking through basic stats. Like, I'll pull up Rome, for instance. One of the things I noticed right offhand, attack stats don't seem to have changed a lot. Weapon damage has changed a little. Bonus versus infantry is gone on almost all units, except for, like, specialty units like berserkers and stuff. So bonus versus infantry in general is gone, which means that hoplites should balance into this mix a little bit nicer with infantry. But they do tend to have lower attack than sword infantry, but still, there's other things that come into play. So melee defense seems to have been adjusted up for many units. And then when you look at some of these units, like, for instance, Principes, their armor is significantly higher. And health appears to be higher in all of these units too. And I think that's what's going to play into making the battles last longer. It'll take a little longer, and I'm guessing they're hoping for more rear charges, for more other stuff, rather than infantry clashing and the fight being over relatively quick. Some other key things to note. Archers have had a pretty big boost to their damage and a little bit increase to their armor piercing damage. The highest attack that we'd seen from archers before was 32 with Cretan archers. It's now 40, and they have 1 more point in armor piercing. Slingers, their attack is back, or actually their attack may... Yeah, it's up, I think, but their armor piercing's clear up to 9 again. So slingers are going to have more armor piercing ability, though their base attack is lower. Javelins have had an increase to their armor piercing damage as well, and that's probably because all units have basically seen an increase to their armor. I say all units, most all units. Shot cavalry hasn't seen a whole lot of changes, except for health bonuses. It looks like health is going to be higher on shot cavalry, I think, from what I'm seeing. These guys are going to be a little more effective, it looks like now. They still have a bonus versus large. They still have lower melee defense, but with higher health and stuff, they ought to last a little longer in a fight, and that charge bonus might be more important. They've changed the price of some of the cavalry units, and some of you are going to rejoice at this. I know I did. Guess what? Draco is gone for Roman cavalry. Finally. Finally, Draco is gone. Still, auxiliary cav is a very good cav unit, and so is Socia Equites. So Rome still has decent cav units, but finally Draco's gone, so you're not going to have that ridiculous trait there. Did they change Evocati cohort? Absolutely no. No, these guys are still ridiculous, and you can spam out as many of them as you want. So, unfortunately, these guys are still going to be there. But at least Draco's gone. This is going to change the way the game plays out, so I'm excited to see that. It's similar with all factions from what I'm seeing, and I was trying to take a quick look at, say, the Barbarian factions. At this point, the Barbarian swords still have a higher weapon damage. They're going to have a little bit lower attack. That may play out a little different now, because the armor and melee defense is pretty equal between the Barbarian units, so the fight is definitely going to last longer. And you can see that some units, like this Naked Warrior, still have a bonus versus infantry. It's because these are meant to be like shock units. But basically what they did was they took their weapon damage down a little, I think, and then increased, gave them this bonus versus infantry. We'll have to see how that plays out. They also have a huge charge. So Barbarian factions, not quite sure how they fit in yet in this new one, but they should be doing better just because their cavalry won't be getting nerfed by Roman Draco anymore. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Anyway, big changes, big changes. What I wanted to do was show you a battle real quick, and I'm not even going to have time to get into the, well, I guess I will, just real quick. So we'll get into like the buildings, and it says old and new, so you can see the new stuff, but basically you can see some of these new chains, like if I open minor settlement, this would be what it looks like with amber or glass or gold, so you can change what these minor settlements look like. The grain tree for the Romans is different. You can see that there's, well, these are all minor settlement buildings from the way I understand it, because if you go further down here to agriculture, yeah, this is their actual agricultural chain buildings. And you can see that there is public order still penalties, but they're not as severe, and they kick in later, so it'll make it better for you to upgrade things. Won't be as big a deal. And they've changed a lot of stuff. Like, so if you look at the minor settlements, it's going to make a big difference in the way that you handle those. Port settlements looking mostly the same. Military buildings looking similar. City center buildings, again, they're going to have changes to the penalties that you get for building these. Like, it'll be a little less food loss and stuff like that on the high levels to encourage people to be upgrading them. Anyway, that's just a quick look. You'll see more of it when I hop into a campaign. I wanted to throw a replay your way and just kind of show you what these supposedly longer battles look like. I actually have a couple. These are just against the computer. This is not against another human. I haven't had a chance to get a match with another human, though I will try to do so at some point during this week. So I wanted to throw Rome against Carthage. I threw a bunch of Primarian units in here. And statistically, what I was seeing, most of the Roman units are going to be superior to the Carthaginian units. Again, see, all the bonus versus infantry is gone. I'm using Cretan archers. I brought a noble cav just to see how they fare now that the cavalry changes have taken place. Scutari cav seems like it's substantially stronger now. It actually has pretty good stats. Not the highest armor, but it's still looking like a decent cav unit. Carthaginian cav is looking to be a little bit better post-patch from everything I'm seeing here. Not super high armor, but nice health. Let's watch him in action here against this Roman legionary cav. Yay, no Draco! So this fight will actually last a while here, because these two units are going to have to grind it out. Here's my noble cav charging a Roman legionary cav, immediately getting quite a few kills on it here. But again, you can see the overall pace of combat does seem to be slowed. Nice rear charge here with my mercenary Scutari cav. Let's take a look at the main engagement. So check it out with the Sacred Band Hoplites now. These guys are definitely going to be a little more worthwhile because they have 105 armor. Big health, big morale. They can support a fight for a lot longer. We've got some mercenary Italian swordsmen classing with these Triarii. Same thing here. And then I'm using my Libyan infantry to hold the main line. And I'm going to support with my Sacred Band. This is probably more of a function like you would hope to see these guys in. You can see their morale radius here supporting my men. So yeah, you can see my cav actually wrapped up the Roman cav. Of course, the AI didn't use them very well. And over here, though, it looks like Carthaginian cav in general is going to be superior to these lower level Roman cavalry. Again, remember that the auxiliary cav is still out there. It does cost more than the Carthaginian units. So it looks like Rome's identity as a heavy infantry faction is going to be more reinforced now. Also, the AI did not get a whole bunch of javelins thrown at me. They could have done fire at will, and they probably didn't. So that could be another danger you've got to face with Rome. They could be hurling javelins, but my guys could as well. So it's just something to be aware of there. So yeah, here I am out doing some outflanking. You can see the fight is lasting substantially longer. Normally all these Roman infantry up against my men would break them very quickly. My men are definitely losing the fight, but you can see that there's definitely an increased fight time going on. Even these cheaper units taking longer to get routed and hanging in the fight. You can definitely see that the Roman archers and my archers are pretty strong. They're choosing to shoot at my infantry. Here's a rear charge from my Sacred Band. So it's going to be a pretty nice charge. Doing some outflanking. You see that gave me time to actually do outflanking here because the fight takes longer. Romans pushing through my men here. Again, you can see in general it looks like the fight just takes a little longer, but this gives me a chance to get cavalry into the back, though my infantry broke at the same time my cav charge came in. But I did get a rear charge on the Romans. Over here I've got some infantry and cav that was chasing Roman stuff that I'm going to have to pull back into the fight. But yeah, you can see the cav fight swung fairly easily into my favor against the Roman cav that was brought here. I didn't give them their higher tier cav. They very well could bring that, and it won't be so easy. And probably will bring it in online battles. Yeah, you can see my noble cav get a nice rear charge there. Again, doesn't look like a very powerful cav unit, but yeah, we'll see. It at least gives Carthage some kind of shock cavalry. Looks like the Romans are going to get knocked out over here. But yeah, again, look how much longer this fight lasts. Just makes things a little more interesting. Definitely going to be a lot more room for, like they said, a little more dynamic battles. Like there's going to be more maneuvering going on. More chances for rear charges. With missiles being stronger, it's quite possible that skirmishing is going to play a bigger role than it had been previously. I don't know. There's a lot of things that are changing. Just kind of give you an overview here. The Romans smashed my center. I smashed their flanks, or this flank at least. This flank is the fight's still going on. Look how long these mercenary Italian swordsmen hung in that fight. Again, the Triarii beat me down, and they should have because they were better units, but just look how much longer the fight takes. I mean, again, it's just going to allow for a whole lot more maneuvering, the ability to screen and shield. It's just going to be interesting. You can see this fight still grinding out here. Even the rear charge definitely took its toll, but didn't immediately cause a rout of the Roman units here. Yeah, so again, see how the Sacred Band supports the morale of my men, which is going to work out great. Let's watch some rear charging here from my Libyan infantry. Yeah, I've just kind of been watching this. Hopefully you all are watching it too. Again, just seeing how much longer the fight takes. To me, I think it's going to be interesting. The fighting goes on for longer. The morale seems higher for units in general, so you're not seeing routes quite as quickly. So they've probably adjusted the way penalties are applied, like morale penalties. See my archers finally taking out the Syrian archers. There's unit caps for certain units too. I've noticed that Cretan archers and Rhodian slingers now are unit capped to 2 per army, but I don't think Syrian archers are unit capped. So that means that it's going to kind of debuff Carthage and some of the other factions with Cretan archers a little. But it'll make factions with foot archers have a little more advantage in their hands. See the Romans completely outflanked here, and then I'm going to send this mercenary Scutari over here to assist in this fight. But yeah, I mean, definitely check out how much longer the fight takes. Completely different. I mean, even here, you know, just look how the grind out is longer with all the units. It's really cool. Hoplites seem to serve more of a purpose now. They can actually get a few kills. They can actually hold for a while. They are still spear units and will be decent versus cav. Sword units definitely have an advantage for the most part in an infantry fight. but the fight's not instant now. And I have tried pikes out a little. They don't seem a whole lot different in the way that they behave, and their stats aren't wildly different, so not sure what to think about pikes yet. But with the fight lasting longer, they definitely could be a little more handy. I don't know, though. I still don't see pikes being a major threat on the battlefield just yet. But then again, this is still a beta. So I was able to eventually wrap up the Roman units here, and hopefully this gives you all just a little quick look at some battlefield action post-patch. I will be coming back to you very soon with more information, so stay tuned. And obviously I want to try and get some online battles filmed in this patch just to kind of see how they play out. Whenever there's a new patch like this, there's a whole lot of learning to do, but I mean the game is going to get changed wildly, both in campaign and in online battles. And personally, I think this is great. And the Emperor Edition is going to be awesome. And again, it's free to anybody who already owns Rome 2. It includes all of the free LC and all the updates. So that basically means that if you go buy a new Rome 2 box at the store or download it on Steam, it'll automatically come with all those updates and be updated to this point. And you also get this new campaign that's coming out, the Roman Civil War campaign. So that's pretty darn exciting. This is a huge change. CA, I think you're really on an awesome track here. This looks great. I'm excited about it. I will be back soon with more updates, and I hope you all are excited about it too. HeirofCarthage, signing off for now.